Like I said, today is honey harvest day, and that's what I'm going to do right now. And I guarantee this is going to get a little sketchy. Hey, what are you doing down there? That's not fun. I've never been stung there before. Hi everybody, it's Brent from Beekeeping in Paradise. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to my terrace. As you can see, I'm sitting here in a very small cloud of bees flying around, and they are doing some amazing cleanup work after my honey harvest. My very first honey harvest here in the Philippines. It has happened, and now I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey over the course of the next short series of videos. I'm going to explain what it took, how I did it. This is the mind-blowing part. These were nucleus colonies 10 weeks ago. Just 10 weeks from nucleus colony to honey harvest. I don't know what's going on, but the honey flow is fantastic. The bees are doing wonderful. It's amazing that this can happen so quickly. To go from an actual nucleus colony to 2.5 months later, in 10 weeks, to have a honey harvest is just, for me, it's mind-blowing. It's just remarkable, the amount or the quantity, the quality of the nectar flow here. It's staggering. I got these nukes, I added a box right away. The bees started to expand, and it seems like no sooner did they double in size and go from 5 frames to 10 frames that all of a sudden it's like a light switch went on, and they were off to the races, and they were bringing in nectar, and they were storing it like crazy. So what we've done is we've pulled this honey and really had a unbelievable turnaround from nuke to honey harvest in 10 weeks. So if you've ever experienced something like that, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear about it. But I'm so happy to be here and so encouraged by what's going on that I can't wait for the next one. Okay, so stay tuned. Let's get into this video.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella shit.
Yeah, let's see if we can get this to go together. We need to take the straight pieces and interlock them with these pieces here. I think they go like so. have I told you that it's hot here in the Philippines? Well, even in the shade, when you're out in the noonday sun, the air temperature gets really hot, and that is not something that GoPro is really happy with. So while I was filming this, the GoPro overheated and shut itself off. And so through the magic of editing, it's finished. I'm done, and I didn't make one mistake. I did not try to use the like I said, editing. I did not try to use the wrong bolts and nuts here. As you obviously saw, I used the correct ones the very first time, and I got everything lined up instantly and without mistake, without an issue. Now the lid is on. I didn't at all misplace any of the accessories and bolts and nuts that it needed, but I have them and everything is installed perfectly. And this is how it works. These are baskets that allow you to utilize deep frames in here, and I'll show you. I've got one over here. Okay, here is a deep frame, much like what's in that top box and the bottom two boxes on this one, and the bottom two excuse me, bottom two boxes over there. So this is a deep frame, and this will just slide down into here like so. And imagining this was full of honey, we have to close the lid, push in on this. This is hard to do with one hand. There's a clutch mechanism here, which this is my favorite feature of this. If you watched my other honey extractor video with the world's cheapest honey extractor, the Vivor 3 frame, I really like that extractor. It's a good extractor. It works well, but it's very basic. It's a direct drive. When you spin the crank, it spins the extractor. And when you let go of the crank, or if the crank slips out of your hand, the crank continues to spin as the drum spins. Now, if a little kid's walking by, because kids are interested, they're fascinated by how this works. I know I was, even at an early age. If that handle is spinning around really fast and a kid walks past here, they're going to get whacked right in the head. So what I like about this one is this clutch assembly, and you have to physically push this in to engage the crank, and then when you start to crank it, it'll spin the drum. But as soon as you let go, this falls, the drum continues to spin. You can see it's spinning here, but the handle just drops dead. And then we also have a manual brake here. So that's a nifty feature that my other extractor doesn't have. So as this spins, the honey gets flung out onto the side of the drum over here on the inside, runs down, and will come out of the honey gate here into a catch bucket. So the neat thing, one of the things I like about this particular model is it will handle 9 mediums or 3 deeps. Now the 3 deeps will go in here, and in this one. But the downside is that when you're done extracting this side, you have to lift it up, spin it around, and then you can do the other side. Now it only takes a few extra seconds, a couple extra minutes in all with the amount of time that you're spinning. But if you remove these and you start to extract medium-sized frames, you can see that the medium frames latch in here and here, and in the back. So they latch in once on the top back here and in 2 places down there, and you can actually fit 3 in each of these sections. So that's how this becomes a 9-frame extractor. And when they're oriented in this direction with the back rib here, all the honeycombs, the bees fill them angled up. So as this spin, so they're angled this way on here and this way on here, like a herringbone shape with the midrib. As you spin this around, all the honey from both sides is extracted at the exact same time. So if you're using deeps, yes, the deep frames hold more honey, but you have to extract this from, you can only do 3 at a time, and you have to do it twice. You have to spin, you have to flip the frames around, do it again. But with this, using the mediums, I can do 9, and it extracts both sides simultaneously. So you only have to crank it once, and you know, for one period, and the honey all comes out of all 9 frames at the same time. You can take these back, put them on the hive that much quicker. So that's the extractor part finished, and I am extremely happy for the very first time in like 5 years to actually get it out of the box and to get it assembled. And I'm really looking forward to putting it to the use. Obviously, this is not going to be an immense, huge honey harvest. I think I've only got about 5 frames in here and about 5 frames in there. So I'm definitely not going to be putting this machine to its test. But it's the only extractor I have. If I had my small extractor, I'd use that. But it's going to work just fine. And this is our very first harvest. Then after the harvest, we'll wait a little while. We'll split the hives. We'll try and make another harvest in a few more months, and we'll see how that goes. But hopefully every harvest will get a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. So next step is we need to build a platform for this. As you can see, there are holes in the feet, and this is amazingly sturdy, to be honest with you. But I would assume that get that going with enough speed and enough weight inside, and it would probably have a tendency to wobble. So I'm going to build a plywood platform for this to get bolted down to, and that'll also give it a little bit more height. And this honey gate over here will be right at the edge, so my bucket that goes underneath will actually have a little bit more height to it. So, and then being on a platform, I'll be able to stand next to it and add that much more weight to the platform and keep this thing steady. So that's the next step. Now I have to go to the hardware store to get some bolts or some lag screws and plywood, 2x4s, things like that. So wish me luck. I'll be back. All right, hi everybody, welcome back. All right, it is the like you said, just saw, the extractor is assembled. I did go off camera and I built a pallet, nothing fancy. I took a piece of 1/2-inch plywood and just ripped it in half. Then I took some 2x4s, laid them down, and glued and screwed the 2 halves of the plywood to each side to make a 3-inch pallet. So then the extractor is going to get bolted to the pallet so that it doesn't wobble. And then now, today is honey harvest day. We've had to fast forward a couple of days since I assembled the extractor, but I did make my rig here for uncapping. Now this is as simple as it gets and cheap. Everything that I do, I try to do on a budget. I'm not out here to make money for the big honey beekeeping supply houses, but this is just a top bar from one of my frames that I haven't assembled. I drilled a couple of holes through the ends and screwed it onto small, maybe 8-inch pieces of 2x4 here. This is cocoa lumber, and this piece of plywood on the bottom to make it a wider base. So this is nice and stable. And now aluminum foil pans will slide under here. This screw that I have facing up with the pointy end sticking through is a pivot, and it's a pivot for the frames as I'm uncapping. I just put that on there like that. That grips in, and then it gives me a place to, or a way to slice through the cappings, and the cappings and any runny honey will fall into the pan below, and then I can just pivot this around and do the other side. So very simple uncapping rig, and no need for a big expensive tank. It's just not necessary. So it might look pretty, and it might, you know, and they might be nice, make things a little bit easier, but all you need is a way to hold the frames up out of the honey as you're cutting the cappings off. That's all it's for. Like I said, today is honey harvest day, and that's what I'm going to do right now. And I guarantee this is going to get a little sketchy. The bees don't really like it. I don't have a bee brush, so I'm going to be shaking bees off the frames, and sometimes they're a little stubborn and they got sticky feet and they don't want to come off. But I need to get them all off, and I'm going to take them from the hive, from their honey boxes here, the supers, and I'm going to put them into these boxes over here and over here. And once I get all the honey pulled, I'm going to put these boxes in plastic bags, because as you know, there are a lot of ants here. So then I'm going to take these downstairs, totally bee free. No time like the present, so we may as well get this excitement over with. As exciting as this is, it's also a little nerve-wracking, just because there's going to be a lot of bees in the air, and they get grumpy. And you'll also see that I'm wearing a longer bee jacket. I bought this one on Lazada, and it doesn't fit. It's okay in the middle now that I've lost weight, but the arms are way too short. I'm only 5'9". I'm not a giant, but apparently, according to people on Lazada, I must be a monster. And this is not a bad hood and not a bad veil. It's just extremely lightweight, and I have every intention, I don't intend to get stung, but I have every expectation that I'm going to be stung probably right through this suit. I've only got a t-shirt on underneath, but you'll also see that I am wearing long pants. I do have socks, and I do have shoes on today. There's going to be so many bees in the air that the bees will become disoriented. A lot of them will be on the ground, and I don't want to step on them barefoot. So, okay. I already pulled one frame of honey, and that's because this was a medium frame in here, and they built wild comb on the bottom and filled it up with drones. So I had to cut that piece off, as you've seen me do in other videos. And then I rubber banded that comb back in here, and it looks like one of my rubber bands is already broken, which is not good. And how did my queen get all the way up here? That makes no sense at all. Well, we'll do that frame last. Okay, I really could have used my bee brush, but I think I know why the queen was on the upper frames, is that they were cleaning out some of the empty space and making it ready for her to lay in. So I'm harvesting this just in the nick of time. Any longer, she would have had that full. My queen was on here. And now, I'm not sure where she has gone. Hopefully she went back downstairs, but I don't want to sheet these until I know for sure. I see her, she's in the other box. So I can sheet these. Outside of the box, outside the wall in this box. So going to get her home. All right, so this is what I'm doing. I just put the lid back on. I found a couple more rubber bands. I'm trying to get this back in here because I don't want to lose all these bees. But the bees are not exactly convinced that I'm on their side right now. They are kind of all over me. There's some honey in the air. They can smell it. That's got them agitated. I'm throwing them around like I've never done before here. They're not pleased. See if I can get this one in. Alright folks, I will say that that was exciting, and I do need to be careful with this, but it appears to be in fairly securely, so they're not going to be pleased. Okay. Box number 1 down. And let's see. Oh, that's heavy. So there's a lot of honey in there. Okay. Alright, I got those to fit. Now, let's see if we can get these girls a little upset with me. And hopefully we won't find the queen up here. That just made everything a little bit more difficult. you doing down there? That's not fun. That could have been really bad. I've never been stung there before. Luckily, I still haven't been. But I can see what they were on about. I did spray a little bit of honey on myself. And I took one sting to the hand, which is not bad considering all the mayhem that I caused. Whoops, I forgot one thing. I need to get these bees from this box back into here. So little tap. Okay. And only a few bees were harmed in the making of this video. So, step one, harvest the honey frames, is done. So now, I'm going to put these boxes inside plastic bags so that they don't get overrun by ants in the next few hours while I'm waiting for things to return to normal and before guests arrive to see just how this all works. You can understand that while this is interesting and very exciting and I'm thrilled to be doing this, this is not something that you want to do with an audience, especially an audience of people who are not trained beekeepers, who've never done it before, who have no, my glasses, who have, oh, I did that whole thing with my thing unzipped. Well, luckily they weren't in a really bad mood. So anyway, you don't want to do this when there's a lot of people around. If you're a new beekeeper and you're excited about your first honey harvest, don't invite your neighbors over and say, hey, look what I'm going to do. Harvest the honey, get it into a safe location, make sure there are no bees on it, and extract it in your garage or your living room, wherever. Invite your friends over for that. Don't shake bees, brush bees with people around, especially if they're not protected entirely. Now, I do happen to have about a dozen veils, and if people come over to watch me extract later on, if they want to come up here to see the bees and how the boxes all work, that's fine. They'll be calm by then, but I will be having everybody put a veil on. Don't need anybody going home with bumpy faces, swollen faces. So okay, so next step is I have to go downstairs. I have to get my extractor set up down in the kitchen, make sure everything's arranged, put tarps down, and get this honey down there in plastic bags to keep it protected from the ants. And I'll double check to make sure that there are no bees in here, blow any off that I'll blow on the bees and remove them from the honey frames. And yeah, then as soon as we finish the extracting this afternoon, I am doing this about 5 hours in advance because I want the bees to calm down. They have a pretty short memory, and they're just going to go get to work on whatever it is that's in there, and they'll calm down. They're not going to hold a grudge. But as soon as we're done extracting, I'll bring the wet supers back, and I'll put the frames back into their hive, and they can get started cleaning them and filling them right back up again, which is the best part of having drawn comb. When you have a nucleus colony and you're just building it up, you don't have any drawn comb. You're adding a box and you're asking those bees to draw out the wax on every frame before they can lay eggs in it, before they can put honey in it, before they can use it for pollen storage. They have to make the comb. But once you have the comb, preserve your comb, keep it nice, and treat it well, because as soon as you're done extracting, you can put it back in here and they don't have to rebuild it, they just have to fill it. Okay, there's one thing left that I want to do. Hello. There's one thing left that I want to do before I take this down and prepare it for extraction, and that's I want to take some of this open honey in here and I want to test it for moisture content. I only need to sample a couple of drops. And what I've got here is a refractometer. This tests moisture content. I'm just gonna, not the wax. Let's just spread this on here and then get another taste. Tap that down and then I look through here and I can see that I am right at 18%. So 18% is your cutoff between honey and nectar, and this is open. This is not even the capped. If it's capped, it's going to be even drier. So this part here, they were getting ready to cap it. They just hadn't gotten around to it yet. But it's already honey. It's dry enough to extract. It's going to be good. And you just have to average out. If most of your frame is going to be under 18, if you've got a small patch that's a little bit over 18, you're gonna, when it's all blended, you're gonna be under 18. So your product is good. And so that was kind of my final test to know that today is a good day to do this. So my open honey is honey, and everything else is capped. That's going to be good. So we're ready to rock. No worries. Just have to make sure that there's no bees in here. I'm going through every frame again just to make sure that, and the ants are already trying to get in here. They're very opportunistic. Just pull a couple of, she's dead. There's a little bit of running honey in the box. And one hitchhiker. There we go. She's gone. Okay. Good to go. So, honey's tested. It's dry. It's good. There's no bees on here. I'm going to take this box downstairs and kind of put it in some plastic. Meanwhile, my favorite part. Boy, these bees know what they're doing. Now I just have to clean that the real way. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching. And if you did, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and I will have another video out for you very shortly, and we'll continue the process. So until next time, remember, I'm Brent. This is Beekeeping in Paradise, reminding you that no matter where you are in the world, if you've got bees, you are definitely beekeeping in paradise. Be well, be safe, be kind, God bless. I love you all.